Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Burwell, your host of V Speaks Conversations with Heart and Soul. We are in season 3 and we have a great lineup. So excited about so many people and especially the next guest that we have. Our former cover girl on the July issue, Vicky Tiel, author, fashion designer, perfume creator of 14, 15 different perfumes. It might be more than that. Friends with Coco Chanel and Elizabeth Taylor, to name a few, and the inventor of the mini dress. Vicky Tiel, welcome to the podcast.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. And thank you for mentioning the mini skirt.
You're welcome.
Yes, it was, I've known pretty much for the start of the mini skirt with my partner, Mia, and I'll explain. I was a student in Washington, D.C. in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and a cheerleader. And with that, I had a lot of power. And we were wearing skirts below the knee. And as a cheerleader, I wanted to have all the guys like me more. So I ended up creating skirts above my knee and then eventually to the mid-thigh. And everybody in my high school yearbook wrote, Vicky Tiel, Elizabeth Taylor Tiel, see you in Paris. Can
no
you imagine?
way. That was prophetic. That was so prophetic.
Linda Rimmel, she wrote that because I had already.
You had style.
No, I'd already told everybody I was going to do that. I'm going to be a fashion designer in Paris.
Oh, okay. So,
and I want everybody
you
to
manifested
know,
it, as they would say in today's world.
When you want something, go for it.
Mm-hmm. That's the theme of the day, apparently.
Okay.
Yes.
When you want something, go for it, because I did and it worked.
Right. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, then you went to Parsons Fashion School of Design in New York City, and that's when you met your partner, Mia.
Yes. 1961, 62, the fall of that year, I went to school and I was wearing a mini skirt, a bra, carrying my dog, a little tiny hairy dog, and I was wearing sunglasses and a jacket to cover the fact that my belly button was showing. The teachers all stared at me. I also came on my boyfriend's motorcycle.
Oh,
yeah.
Good optics.
I arrived in mid-Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
My partner, future partner, she came in and she was wearing a piece of fabric with strings and wrapped around herself. This is 1961 to 2. Everybody wore skirts below their knee. So the two of us sat opposite each other, staring at each other. And this is going to be in a movie, hopefully.
Yes,
and the
we'll
two
talk
of
about
us
that.
And all the rest of the people in the table in the school were just in shock, and they felt that we belonged in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. So you were truly renegades
Wild,
way back then. So
wild.
Everybody wasn't. So the hippie movement, when everyone was donning,
we started.
You started it. Okay, so right here, ladies and gentlemen, here we have.
Voila! And not only that, but I decided to go sing and to pass the hat for the gorgeous boys in Greenwich Village,
Mm-hmm.
and Bobby Zimmerman and Bobby Dylan. He was called Bobby Zimmerman then. All the different boys at the Cafe Wa, and they named me Peaches Latour.
Okay.
And I just glued feathers on my breasts.
Okay.
And sometimes leaves. And then I wore my little black mini skirt, which I'm going to show you.
Okay.
And the boys made so much money.
Wow.
I passed the hat.
So
Peaches.
was Dylan performing that? Or was that even
he was called Bobby Zimmerman.
Okay. What, in little nightclubs or something like that?
Cafe Wa.
Okay.
On the main
Before
street.
he was...
He was not somebody
He was not somebody yet.
Yeah.
So your life seemed to have taken, since you were very young, a trajectory toward being a magnet for movie stars, models, and opportunities. Mm-hmm. Do you think you made those opportunities happen, or do you think that your life was just literally destined to be the life that you had?
I think you make it. I started sewing when I was 12 years old. I started making money. I was a cheerleader, so I could have power. And the power I could turn into money. And so I started making a big full skirts. And I have a dress to show you that I made when I was 14 that I'm still wearing today. So I discovered timeless fashion. And that's what I do.
Well, when you say power, so I was a cheerleader too.
Oh, cool.
And what does that mean when you say you had power did that give you?
Power makes that everybody in school, when you walk down the hall, doesn't stare at you with ugly faces and everything. They all look at you in awe.
Okay. So.
And then I didn't even get good grades because I had to take a bus to other cities So the boys in the team were on the bus with me, so I got to like boys in uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up having 5 years as a cheerleader, junior high and high.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the cheerleaders that were in the yearbooks and everything, we had high school reunions, every one of them married well, lived well, had fabulous lives.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, none of them went to Paris and became partners with Elizabeth Taylor.
Right. But okay, so let's circle back a teeny bit. So did you leave Parsons or did you get kicked out?
No, I didn't. I get kicked out.
Okay.
The 2 or 3 of the teachers, especially the teachers who taught drawing, loved my work. And eventually, in that first year that I was there, everybody shortened their skirt, until the mini was kind of almost being worn by my other friends.
Mm-hmm.
We started the mini skirt.
Mm-hmm.
It was not started in London. It was Mia and Vicky in New York City. And hopefully I'll be making a television series about it. And who won? Nobody wore long skirts. They all changed into mini skirts.
Mm-hmm.
So we won.
So when you would walk down the streets of New York in these outfits that no one had seen before, what kind of reactions would you get?
Got all the guys.
What about the women?
They stared at me, but
Mm-hmm.
I got all the guys. And eventually, when you get all the guys, you get the women too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why did you get kicked out?
I didn't get kicked out.
Oh, okay.
I did not get kicked
Good,
out.
you left.
Actually, Sears Roebuck, the head of Sears Roebuck, came to the school to choose an employee in Sears to work for them to the junior division that they created, and they chose me, Vicky.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
how that happened.
We ended up with a huge amount of money and a driver. And the driver, we said, we're going to Paris. And he said, great, I'll give you a driver. I'll pay your hotel. And I worked for 15 years for Sears and created the junior division.
Oh, okay. That part, I did not know that
No,
piece of history.
no,
That is amazing. And
yeah.
did Mia get that gig
Yes.
too? And did she stay doing that for 15 years as well?
No, she only
Okay.
stayed 4 or 5 years, and she left me in Paris. And Elizabeth, with the 2 of us, ended up with a shop.
Okay.
I went to Paris, and I have the explanation of that because when I first went to New York City with the mini skirt, and then I went to Paris,
Mm-hmm.
the French press went crazy. They put me on the cover of all the magazines, Mia and I.
Mhm.
And then when we got back to America from Paris for Christmas to see our parents, they put me on the Johnny Carson show.
Can I see that? I'm going to put this up
Yes.
for if the TV camera can pick that up. Not sure if it will.
We
but
graduated
we'll try.
from school 4 months before this.
So Johnny Carson. What
we
year
were
was
on the
that?
Johnny Carson show, and I'm with my dog and smoking a cigarette wearing a mini skirt.
Back in the day. You can't smoke a cigarette now, but you
Oh.
can bring your dog. Okay. That is just unbelievable. What did some of your professors say, like when they knew you made it in Paris and after?
I have a wonderful story.
Okay.
Mia and I, we had couture shows then, and couture was a designer showed in their workrooms, and they put chairs up, gold chairs up on either side, and you walk down the runway, and the models would go down the runway. We decided to take over nightclubs, and we had our fashion show in nightclubs
Good
with the
idea.
music and the strippers. There was a stripping club that we showed our clothes in, and we made so much press that the people who were making a movie in Paris saw Mia and I in a nightclub dancing with the miniskirts, and slowly the women would wear them, that they said, would you do the costumes for a movie? So we'd only left school in 5 months, and we were designing the costumes for a movie, What's New, Pussycat,
Woody Allen's movie.
with Woody Allen. And Woody knew me from the village, and he knew I was Peaches. So
Okay.
he was very nice.
So he knew you, when you were in Paris, he said, oh, hi, Peaches.
Hey, Peaches is here. Oh, my God.
Okay.
So we did the
All right.
movie.
This is Vicky and Mia on the July issue, rocking their cool outfits from the 60s. Very,
60.
very, very, very cool.
When we did the movie of What's New, Pussycat, at the same time, Elizabeth Taylor was in the studio making in Billancourt studio outside Paris. She was making a movie with Richard. We went down the hallway, Mia and I walking, and Richard grabbed me. He didn't grab Mia because she's very tall. He grabbed me and pulled me into a dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Richard Burton. I'm, oh my gosh. And he said, I want you to make a surprise dress. I want my wife to look like you.
Wow.
So I said,
What
okay.
a compliment.
I know. So I made a mini dress, which I have to show you, the mini dress I made for Elizabeth, the first dress she ever wore that was a mini. And she never wore long skirts again.
Well, it's so teeny that she must have been so small.
Yes.
I mean,
She
that
had
is a
just
small
gone through
dress.
divorce with Eddie Fisher.
Okay.
She had gone through a marriage with Richard. Yes, she was smaller than me, actually.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Oh, I know she was so beautiful. But, you know, when I see pictures of you with all of these movie stars and everything, you know, I have to tell you, which I didn't tell you before, you can hold your own with them. I mean, you looked like you belonged. You did not look like you were
I did.
an outsider.
I did. I married Hollywood Ron.
The makeup artist,
Yes,
right?
I did. I married Hollywood Ron. I was his third wife of 6 wives, but
Okay.
I was his favorite wife.
How do you know? Did he tell you that?
Yes, he did.
Great. Did he pass? Is
Yes,
he still
he
alive?
passed.
He passed. And did he pass married
He
or
was the makeup
unmarried?
man of Elvis, so I got to meet Elvis.
What was Elvis like?
I walked over. He made me meet Elvis in the studio. He was shooting a movie with Elvis when I met him, and I have to tell you that in my entire life, the handsomest man I ever met since my birth was Elvis Presley.
Wow,
that
really?
gorgeous,
that gorgeous,
and I couldn't even speak.
Really?
He's that gorgeous.
Okay, that's gorgeous then.
He was
because you can talk, and I mean that complimentary.
And I became friendly with Priscilla.
Oh, what was she like? She's a beauty.
Together. She is just not only beautiful, but super
Sweet.
intelligent.
Yeah. I always loved them.
She made a fortune out of Graceland, and she looked after all her family, and she's an amazing woman.
Right. Do you still have your apartment in Paris to
Yes,
this
I
day?
do.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
And I know you were there for about a month after this cover came out, right? And you just got back about a month ago?
Yes.
And how is Paris now, post-COVID? Is it back to normal?
Paris was never normal.
Okay. Is it still
England?
Abnormal?
England, where I lived 7 years, I also lived in London and Paris. But England closes at 11 or 12. The pubs close.
Yeah.
Paris does not close.
Okay. That is so fun. So what was it like? Didn't you walk the runway and
yes,
at a Paris?
The t-shirt.
Tell me that.
So me and fashion shows were very private in the ateliers of the couturier when we got there. The star couturier was Pierre Cardin. He was the first person who created licensing. Nobody had invented licensing until Cardin. And Mia started dating Louis Theroux, who was across the street from Cardin. So we really got in Paris couture in 64, 65, 66. And we ended up understanding that they had fashion shows in their atelier, and we decided to have fashion shows in strip clubs. We felt that they're not little strip clubs. Everyone, the Moulin Rouge, everybody's heard of the Moulin Rouge. So we had a fashion show there, and then I had a fashion show in a hotel, and I took the runway down the main lobby of the hotel, and I put the teacher from Parsons, who told me I had no career, at the end of the runway. We flew her over from New York to sit at the end of the runway. Voila!
Wow!
Voila!
That is a good.
We put her at the end of the runway, and I had all the models wave at her when they went down there like this. And I wasn't angry because I think that
you were in Paris walking runways. Why would you be angry?
I feel that this is important because I like to help people with my books and my advice. In dressing rooms, I give advice to the 6 women. For 40, 50 years, I dressed 6 women a day in a dressing room, and I give advice. And the important advice is turn everything in your favor. Do not accept bad things. If something bad happens, go, and just turn it in your favor. And you know who taught me that? It was Elizabeth Taylor. Really? Yes, she really. I was that way in the beginning, but Elizabeth really taught me. Once I was making a movie, and I said to her, this actress is so horrible to me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think she's going to have me kicked off the movie. And he said, who is it? And I told her the name. And she said, Vicky, it's a B actress. And whenever we would go in jobs or things, she was very friendly with Princess Grace. Elizabeth wanted to have her driver, Gaston Sands, who was a wonderful little Frenchman, sit next to Grace or Princess Margaret, or not Elizabeth, we never had Queen Elizabeth, but at her lunches, and she would have Gaston, the driver, sit next to a princess. Why? Because she wanted everybody to learn to not be a B actress, to be regular, to be honest, to be kind to everybody. Don't be a snob. So Elizabeth would break down snobs. And every movie I ever made, or all the dressing room women I dressed, all the wealthiest women on the planet, everybody, including the president's wives. I've done the Trump and the Biden wives, their dresses. I don't deal with snobs. I'm so normal and I'm so regular that I break them down to being regular. But if anybody is a snob to you or stuck up, just remember they're a B actress.
Well, that's good advice. It's a good perspective, right?
It's Elizabeth.
Because maybe what that means when you net it down is that when you really have it and you're really confident, you don't have to be snobby.
You better
Maybe
believe
it's
it.
a lack of confidence that people are projecting that.
The greatest actresses of our time, I met most of them. I've dressed everybody in my dressing rooms in Bergdorf Goodman, where I had created the couture salon. That the more powerful, here's a wonderful story. I'm in Bergdorf, and a woman walks in, and she's wearing jeans, a T-shirt, an ugly little jacket. She's followed by two great big guys, looking like thugs, walking in, and all the salespeople who were working go hide. They're going. And I looked at her, and the two men, I go, bodyguards, bodyguards. I walk over to her. Of course, she's the third richest woman in the world.
Oh, is she American?
She's an American, and her husband owns gambling casinos all over. And he was just opening a casino in Hong Kong or China, and she needed a gown for the opening. But when you look up the richest people in the world, her husband, I think, is the second richest or third richest in America.
And you dressed her?
Of course, I dressed her.
What did you put her in?
A gown. I make a gown.
Oh, you made it for her.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't
have to
off the
make
rack.
gowns.
Okay.
No, I basically make the gowns. I
Okay.
sketch it.
Yeah.
I sketch the gown, and then I measure them, and then I get them in their bra and panties, and I sit them down at a table, and I have them tell me everything about their lives, what they're doing, what the wedding is for. I tried in a way to make them on one with me.
Well, the creative process, the more open and collaborative, the better you can create.
Coco did this.
Okay.
If you wanted to meet Coco, now, by the way, Elizabeth and I are the only women who ever really was with Coco. Elizabeth took her to dinner a year before she died.
Okay.
And I have the dress that I'm going to show you that I wore to meet Coco.
Okay.
And Coco spent a night with me and Elizabeth holding her hands. She wanted to pass on messages to us and what we should do with our lives.
And they were something about perfume.
Make perfume. Make your own money. Have nothing to do with it. And do not let anybody else ever tell you what to do. You do everything yourself. You don't have any man or anybody tell you what to do.
Okay. So that was for Elizabeth Taylor. That would have been diamonds, her perfume.
87, white diamonds.
White diamonds.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what the title is of it, but doesn't she hold
Yeah.
Oh, you have it?
This is mine.
That's yours, right? And
Yeah.
and you have how many different
14 perfumes.
14? Okay, that's good. I had remembered that correctly.
Yeah, I had 5 homes from 14 perfumes.
Okay.
Thanks to Coco.
Talk about some of the names. Some of the names are just as beautiful as the perfumes.
Oh, Serene.
Serene. Okay, can I smell that?
How about the book, The Absolute Woman, La Femme Absolue?
Well, this is all. It's all about the dress.
All about the dress.
Okay, this I read
Yeah.
on a long car ride to New England about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't know you, of course.
Yeah.
The fact that I actually got to meet you this summer, and I'm like, my gosh, that is the book that and then it was in a car ride with my husband, and I go, this is a fascinating book. I said, do you want me to read it out loud? So I read it to him out loud, and then I put it down, and he's like, well, what happened next? I'm like, okay, so he actually wants me to keep reading it. So it was so fun. And so then when we met, so I had some history on you, the backstory on you. So, it's just such a joy and a privilege to actually meet you in person. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, which I don't think I touched on the last time we met, but so you're 80 years young, you're beautiful. How are you this healthy and this beautiful at 80 years old?
Okay, it's a big story, but Elizabeth and I were big fans of alcohol, huge fans.
Okay.
And we both had our favorite, which was Dom Perignon, pink champagne, and we had to have it pink, and we had to have it in crystal glasses.
Why not?
And that really was a part of my life that went on me, constantly thinking like that. No, I can't put it in that. It has to be in a crystal.
It had to be a certain note.
She had a
major.
chauffeur, and the chauffeur, Gaston Sands, would have crystal glasses in the back of the Rolls Royce. So we would always have crystal glasses. I just loved champagne and wine in France. If you live in France, you just know all the great wines. And we went overboard. And eventually I had 6 car crashes. I had total 6 cars.
In Paris?
In Paris, I was in jail.
Okay, I do not know this story.
No, I was in jail, but
why?
They let me out right away because I knew the president of France. So I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So I ended up.
But why were you there? Because you were drinking
Yeah, no, I hit the police car and hurt the policeman drunk.
Oh.
And they put me in jail.
That's not
And
good.
I went back to America, and the people who manage Elizabeth and my friends and said, I really need to stop drinking. And there's the Betty Ford Clinic, and we'd both go to the Betty Ford Clinic. And then they said, no, you can't put those two crazy girls together in the Betty Ford.
Okay.
So Elizabeth met her husband in the Betty Ford. And
Which one?
Larry Fortensky.
Okay.
And I went to an ashram, and I meditate a lot, and I love to meditate. And so that went along with not drinking.
Okay.
So I went to an ashram in upstate New York, and I meditated, and the higher powers all spoke to me and told me to stop drinking. And I did.
Good.
Stop drinking, and I haven't had alcohol since.
That's great.
Yeah. But had to replace that with something.
What'd you replace it with?
A young husband. A fishing boat captain. That's why I'm here.
That's great.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
Well, after all this going on, somebody said that we needed to go to Key West, and I should party in Key West and relax, but don't drink. So I went to Key West, and I stayed with a famous writer, and she said, go down to the dock, all kinds of fun guys down there. And I went and I found my husband.
Really?
Yeah. We looked at each other, and we've been together 37 years.
Wow.
Yeah, off and on, because we always have. I don't live here all the time, so it could be off and on. But I've been married with him for a long, long time. And
what does he think of your past as a fashion designer and all that? Does he think that's interesting, or does he like the Vicky
he's
Tiel
always giving me
2.0?
advice,
Oh,
tremendous advice.
Well,
no, he's
that's
he has a high IQ,
Okay.
and I was a cheerleader, so I didn't get an education.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a really great find, and we've been great friends ever since. And we have a home together near Home Shopping Network where I work. We have a home right in the village next to Home Shopping Network.
Which is where? What
St.
town?
Pete.
St. Pete.
St.
Oh,
Pete.
is that where that is?
Yeah. So I was selling dresses
Oh.
at Bergdorf for about 40 years.
Talk about that a little bit more detail for everybody. So
Yes.
you had a department, the Vicky Tiel
Yes.
department in Bergdorf
Yes.
for how many years?
40.
40. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so would you be there every day?
No, I lived
No.
in Paris.
Okay. So
I created the couture department, which meant that a woman could come in, go into the dressing room, I'd measure them, and I'd make a gown. It was totally Chanel. That's what she did. Coco, if you wanted to meet her, you could. You'd go to Paris, go to the Ritz, the street of the Ritz, across the street, there's Chanel, and she measures you. You pay $10,000 first, and then she measures you, and then you get your dress. She sketches it, she measures you, she does everything one-on-one. Money first. You're going to buy a gown from Coco, pay first. I had the pleasure, by the way, of meeting Coco.
When you went for lunch or something like that with
No, dinner.
Dinner, okay.
And the see-through dress that I have
Yes.
to show you. And Coco explained that to give a woman a dress, to make a gown for her, not only do you need to sketch it and measure it, which most designers don't do. If you want to be a dress designer, be like Coco, be like me, measure the woman, draw the dress, have her approve of it, make it for her, instead of having your helper, your assistant do it. Coco did it. I do it, So we measure everybody and we make them their dresses. And Coco taught me everything. She taught me about feminine power. She never had anybody give her money until the very end when she passed away. The Wertheimers bought her brand. Her entire life, she managed everything herself. She did it all herself. She came from a dirt floor, and a peasant in the south of France to become the greatest designer that ever lived.
What was she like? Was she guarded? Well, you're
Like
not
this, when you meet her.
That's guarded, right?
Like this.
She's sizing you up
Like that, yeah. And then you talk to her and you talk to her and she's like this.
Okay, so then she likes you. Okay.
Just like, oh, such a wonderful.
Okay.
It's the greatest experience of my life was meeting Coco Chanel.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure,
Yeah.
was fascinating. So we are going to...
And Elizabeth. And the three of us together having dinner was
that's priceless.
something that I hope will be in the movies that I make.
Okay, talk about the movie. So we'll bring the audience up to speed with, you've written this book all about the dress and another one.
Yes. Well, I never went to school correctly. As being a cheerleader, you're always traveling on the buses with the boys. I ended up not having much education with English and writing and all of that. But I wanted to write. I wanted to have a second career as fashion. I'd done it all my life. And who had lived what I lived. It was so much fun, from the village and the boys and Paris and Coco and the fisherman, the cute fisherman
Woody
at the
Allen,
dock, and Woody.
Dylan.
Yeah. We had too much fun, and I should write about it. So I didn't know whether I could write or not. And this is a true story.
Yeah.
This is so true. I have a couple of homes, and one of my homes is a log cabin upstate New York. I'm on the log cabin on the porch. I'm out there meditating. I'm going, what should I do now? I'm living up here at the beautiful cabin. What do I do in this cabin? Should I paint? Because I paint. What should I do? And I said, I'm going to ask Elizabeth. She had just passed away. Elizabeth, what can I do here in the cabin? Can I write? I'm not educated. Can I write? And all of a sudden, this is a true story. It's in my book. A blue feather falls from the sky and lands at my feet, a blue ostrich feather. I had made a dress for her to wear to the Amphar in pink ostrich feathers. And I had to glue each ostrich feather on with glue. That was it. But why didn't you get me a pink one? She's falling from the sky, and she sent me a blue one. Well, the sky is turquoise, of course. She got the feather up in the sky and sent it to me. So I'm looking at this feather, and I said, okay, I can write. And there's the book.
Well, I think it's very well written, and I thought so when I read it, 7 years ago. You really didn't have anyone help you write that, because it's really well done.
Yeah, no. Did you read my second book?
I didn't read your second book yet. No. What is the name of your second book?
The Absolute Woman, La Femme Absolute,
yes, okay.
The Absolute Woman.
And then you have a third book that you just told me about.
I'm just doing my third book now, which is 100 Women, which I wanted to show you.
Yes. And it's 100 women that you've met?
No, 100 women I've dressed.
Oh, that you've dressed. Okay,
Yes,
well,
here's
of course.
my 100 Women. The book is 100 sketches of women and a story about each one.
Okay, so I'm just going to hold
here's my
some
book.
of these up.
Elizabeth's on the cover, and this is the pink ostrich feather dress that I made for her.
So this is Kim Kardashian dress that you made.
At the Cannes, she wore that to the Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
Can you show this one?
Put it back, yeah, if you can see it.
This is my book of 100 women, and it's including the president's wives. I did the two president's wives. There's Priscilla.
Speaking of Priscilla Presley, which I think is so pretty. And where was that?
Priscilla, she wore gowns all the time.
Yeah, so pretty.
She would go out.
This?
Whitney
Houston,
Houston,
1994.
singing.
Whitney Houston. What color dress was this? Do you remember what color this was? I don't know.
I think it was green, Kelly Green.
Okay, great. Awesome.
She loved Kelly Green.
She did?
Yeah.
Did you meet her?
Yeah, of course.
Was she gorgeous?
Oh.
I mean, she seems so...
Slim. Slim.
And tall.
And tall and slim. Well, not that tall. No, 5'7", 6'7", but she was super slim. Super slim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But we know why.
Well, yeah, we won't go there right now.
I didn't do that.
No, don't worry.
Pink champagne, Dom Perignon.
Yeah, that's as high as you go. It's pretty high. So present day, your sketches, and that you're...
I'm selling my sketches now.
Yeah.
As an artist, I paint naive paintings, and I love that. So I paint all the places I've lived, and especially in the Keys. I love the blue, so I'll be painting here too now. But
your sketches are beautiful.
Yeah, I love to draw the designers today who are doing sketches of fashion are doing them very, very beautifully, like Saint Laurent with beautiful colors and everything. And I just do the one-liners. My favorite artist is Henri Matisse and Picasso, and they make one-liners. So I make the one-liner on the drawing, and we're selling them at the gallery here in Grayton Beach at the Studio Gallery.
The Studio Gallery.
And they're going to also have my 80th birthday party. Oh. Now, how I look and act like this at 80, I have to tell you that
was a long answer to get back to here.
Time. Yeah. Being a cheerleader is a wonderful way to maintain your body. But most of my cheerleader girlfriends, they ended up not following my diet. And my diet is a wonderful diet that I got from the Chinese doctor in New York, Dr. George Wong. He's a cancer doctor. And as my friends in my 20s and 30s started to get bits of cancer, I found Dr. Wong through Bergdorf. One of the clients in Bergdorf Goodman that I made dresses for told me he was the star cancer doctor. And he told me the most important thing, which is in all my books. And there's 5 chapters on Dr. Wong's diet. I have nothing, no Botox, nothing, 0 Botox, 0 anything done on my body.
You look great.
Okay. How? 5 to 7 red, purple, and blue fruits and vegetables a day. Grapes especially, and I freeze my grapes in the purple. I don't get green ones because you want to eat purple, blue, and red. All that strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, everything you can eat in those colors, beets, and that kills cancer. That kills disease. Then I don't eat meat. I just eat fish. We're in Florida. We're eating lots of good fish. And I eat French food. So I'm eating French croissant and not American bread. Like Wonder Bread, I eat a croissant. The croissant has a wonderful bread to it. And I eat my own eggs. I have 50 chickens on the farm. And I eat my own eggs all the time. And I put them in a croissant. But my diet is everything to me. I don't go to bed early. Of course, I had no alcohol since I hit the policeman, went to jail. I have no alcohol.
Oh, that is.
I have no alcohol, no pills, no nothing.
Yeah, that's great.
Just eating the most wonderful fresh fruit and food. Now, my drink, I drink every single day French coffee. I bring it over from Paris. I'd eat carte noire, French coffee. You can buy it on the internet, carte noire, and you buy a 4 or 5 pack. I don't put sugar in it. I don't put milk in it. I just have the carte noire, and I think it gives me a long life. I'm 80. I've never been sick a day in my life.
That is just a blessing of epic proportions.
Yeah. So it is your diet. It is the red and purple foods. And just put green, dark purple grapes in your freezer and munch on them all the time, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. Cancer cannot fight the skin of a dark purple grape.
Interesting.
The Chinese know that.
Yes.
So that Chinese doctor in New York, he's the head cancer doctor in New York, Dr. George
Good
Wong.
tip. Definitely a good tip. So tell us a little bit about how it came about for the story of your life with you and Mia getting
Making
ready.
a movie.
What is it called?
Yeah. Mia Vicky.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Yeah Girls.
Okay, right. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
and
the
so
Yeah Girls.
who came up with the idea?
Me.
Did someone? You did.
Of
and
course.
then you pitched it to somebody?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that story.
Well, in New York, I give lectures in fashion schools. FIT, Parsons. I go back and stand on stage there and talk. I do different museum lectures, and they have fashion shows when I give the lecture. I love helping people and giving advice, and it's one of my jobs. I call it a job to help other people. Life, by the way, is not about yourself. Life is about helping other people and being happy all the time, because that makes me happy, helping and making women gorgeous, and then, wearing the best dress at the wedding and all of that. Yeah. So when I'm talking and giving advice, and I've been having all this practice for all these years, I decided that I had such an unusual life, because everybody would go, no, that's not true. No. I said, I better write not only a book, but I better write the story and make everyone watches Netflix and all that. So I decided to write
a screenplay.
The story. Yeah. And I made 24 episodes. And the thing starts out with me arriving on the motorcycle at Parsons with the dog and the miniskirt and the bare belly button and going up to the school where all these fancy women are in dresses mid-thigh. Can you imagine? That was Dior.
Amazing.
Dior did that in the 50s. He went lower. We were below the knee, and the Katharine Hepburn period. And then in the mid 50s, Dior decides to make this big full skirt with crinolines and go down to the mid knee, and that was the look.
The opposite.
My
of what
mother
you
was just never stopped walking around the house with this giant skirt and crinolines sticking out. That I had to go and show nothing. Just go up to here, get my sewing machine out and make the little black mini.
The renegade trailblazer that you are.
But the 50s was a time also of a war, the reaction after a war. The 60s was what happened in the 60s. Birth control pill, the birth control pill. Oh my God, we could have all our boyfriends. We could just be with everybody, and have all the fun.
And that fostered the miniskirt, I guess, or less clothing. Is that what you're saying?
When I made the miniskirt and I wore my little black, which I have to show you, the little black miniskirt, and I wore it around, I got to
that
sleep.
Is so
I
teeny.
got the boyfriend in the village. I got the folk singers. And I decided to make the folk singers gorgeous, and I created the leather pant of the folk singers. All the boys in the village that sang the guitars wore my leather pants. So I got to make them leather pants and measure them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So the last time we talked for your interview for the magazine, you were pitching it. It was sort of underway, but then the writers and actors strike.
Yeah.
Um,
Now I'm back. I'm
But
going
now
to
you're
LA.
back.
I'm
Okay.
going to be traveling around.
Pitch.
I will guarantee you that by spring you'll be hearing who's doing it, who's making it.
Who do you want to play you? You must have thought about it.
Yeah.
Who?
Well, I fell in love. Debbie Reynolds was a friend. My husband was her makeup man, Hollywood Ron, and she and Elizabeth made up at the end. And she's got a daughter that's very interesting and looks kind of like me.
Really? What's
Yeah,
her
Debbie
name?
Reynolds' daughter.
What's her name? Do I know her?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Debbie
okay.
Reynolds' daughter.
Is
But
she acting?
yeah, she's been acting a little bit, but she's also getting older. And I was young to start. This is about me at 16, 17, so it's pretty hard, to do that. But I love Debbie Reynolds' daughter, and the fact that Elizabeth and Debbie, and this is for people too, my husband had 6 wives, and when he died, I was friends with all of them, and I wanted us to go together to LA and have I called us the Ron's Wives Club, and get together and throw his ashes over the cliffs of the Pacific, because he was a surfer, but his daughter wouldn't let me do it. The daughter from wife number 2. I was wife 3. He had 6. And one, we're not sure, somebody in England who was a singer, a pop singer. I think he married her. I was the longest, but I wanted to bury him correctly. So ladies, when you have a husband and he's married to other people and he has children with other people, be their best friends. Be all friendly. Don't make enemies with anybody that you shared, a man with. I mean, there's something about that. All these people that are fighting all the time and not friendly and everything. I think friendship leads to happiness. It leads to the man being happy that all the wives are friendly. So the wife number 6, she had all our furniture from our home in France, and she had it in her house and she didn't like it. So wife number 6 sends me back all my furniture from my home in Paris that I had with him in the beginning.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's being friendly with, the wives and all of that, and not being angry at anybody you were married to. Being friendly is important. Elizabeth taught me that. She had 8 husbands, and she was friendly with everybody.
Well, that's some good advice.
Yeah.
You're kind of a kid at heart, you're very youthful, right? Your spirit is youthful, and we had talked about that before too. One thing that I wanted to ask you, in this world that we're in right now of, youth is just like so sought after. Like with you being 80 and you still in the game and doing so many different things, I think you're like the poster child for like ageism and like just like continuing to just do whatever you want no matter what age. What do you think about that?
Well, I've got to tell you that too many people have come up to me and said, you've got to become an influencer. So now I hired a girl about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
She's filming me Thursdays and Fridays of every week, and we're going to be talking just like we're
Good.
talking.
And I saw those on Instagram, and I was thinking it's very influencer-like.
Yes, I'm going to be doing that.
Well, good.
I also have a thing which I wanted everybody to know. I did this, and it worked. We got a lot of people. The lady who drove me here, I don't drive because I totaled 6 cars.
Good idea.
Yeah. The lady who drove me here and her sister we're all in the late 70s, and we're called the Fabulous Grandmas. And we have a club now called the Fabulous Grandmas, and we went to a couple of events, different ladies' parties. And one lady said, okay, I'm going to be a fabulous grandma, and started in Hawaii. So all around the country now, we're going to be hoping that women will become the fabulous grandmas.
That's awesome.
And go to different events. You go to a city, you choose like, this next time we're going to go to Op. We're going to go. It's a fun name. We're going to go Op. We're going to be in the cafe, being photographed, wearing cute outfits, and then we go and we be filmed, and we're fabulous grandmas.
Love it, love it. Well, on that note, everybody, just stay tuned for Vicky Tiel, and this podcast has been amazing and a treat, and we could talk for days. But I thank you for everything.
It's my pleasure.
For everything that you've shared, for your insights and your wisdom. And I hope you all enjoyed it, everybody. V Speaks Conversations with Heart and Soul with the amazing Vicky Tiel. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.